Brachos Daf Zayin is a continuation of the Agadata of the previous few Daf, and it covers a wide range of subjects, including the tefillah that HaKadosh Baruch Hu prays, the anger that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is angry at some point during the day, tzaddikim, righteous people who have bad things happening to them, the meaning of names. So let's see what the Gemara says. First of all, the Gemara says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu prays every day. What is this tefillah? This tefillah is, may it be my will that my mercy should overwhelm my anger, and that my mercy should overwhelm my midos, and then I should treat my children with mercy, and I should do for them greater than the letter of the law. The Gemara says it was an incident where Rabbi Yishmael ben Elisha Kohen Gadol went to bring Ketores on Yom Kippur inside Kodesh HaKodashim, and he saw a image of some sort. He saw an Akas Rikel, Hashem Tzivah, that was sitting on a high, lofty, exalted throne, and he said to him, Yishmael, my son, bless me. And Yishmael gave him this bracha, and he nodded to him with his head, as it were. The Gemara says we see from here that a person should not take a blessing from someone less than him lightly. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yechanan says, you should not try to appease somebody during his anger, because the Kadosh Baruch Hu said to Moshe after the Egel, Panay Yelecha v'Nechaysi Lach, first let me resolve this anger, and then I can hear your prayer. Says the Gemara, is that true? Kadosh Baruch Hu gets angry? How can it be that Kadosh Baruch Hu gets angry? The Gemara says, yes. The Pasuk says, V'kel Zayim B'chal Yayim, there's one moment during the day, one rega, in which a Kadosh Baruch Hu is angry. The Gemara says, how long is a rega? The Gemara says, 1 unit out of 58,888 in an hour. So the Gemara says no creature knows when this moment is, except for Bilam. Wicked Bilam knew when it was, like it says, V'yadea das Elyon. So the Gemara says he knew das Elyon. He didn't even understand his own animal. He didn't even understand his behema. So how could he know das Elyon? It means he knew when this moment of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's anger is, and that's why he said. That's why we have the pasuk that says that we should remember what Bilam tried to do. That Bilam tried to curse us, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu did a special chesed for us, that day there was no moment of anger, in order that Bilam should not be able to curse us. And that's why Bilam said to Balak, how can I curse you if HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not going to be angry today? That entire day there was no anger. Says the Gemara, how long is this anger a rega? How long is a rega? It's as long as it takes to say the word rega. Says, how do you know that there is this rega which HaKadosh Baruch Hu is angry? It says rega ba'apoy. There is a moment of anger. Chayim b'rtzaynai. Another source, it says chavi kimat rega ad ya'avor zo'am. That the anger passes in a moment. Gemara wants to know, can we identify when this moment of anger is? Gemara says it's within the first 3 hours of the day, when the crown of a rooster becomes white and it's standing on one foot. The Gemara says, that happens a couple of times. The Gemara says, no, there's only one time when it's completely white without any red streaks in it. Other times there are red streaks. The Gemara records an incident. There was a Tzeduki, a Sadducee, an evil Jew who was bothering Rabbi Shua ben Levi. He lived near him and he was giving him a hard time based on certain psukim that he knew. So Rabbi Shua ben Levi decided to curse him. So he kept a rooster near his bed and he watched it. And he was waiting for the moment when he saw its crown go totally white. But he nodded off and fell asleep while it happened. When he saw that that's what happened, he saw, I see, you're not supposed to curse people. You're not supposed to use the moment of anger against people. It says, Racham av kol masav. You should have mercy on people. It also says, Gam anoish l'tzadik loy toiv l'hakas nedive al yosher. It's not good to try to use this against people. The Gemara identifies another moment when HaKadosh Baruch Hu was angry. It says, when the sun rises and all the kings of the earth put on their crowns and decide to bow down to the sun, that causes HaKadosh Baruch Hu's anger. Says the Gemara, one at a time when a person realizes his own mistake is better than all kinds of punishments that he might receive. Like it says in the pasuk, he looked for his friend and couldn't find them, couldn't find them, and she said, I'll go back to my husband myself. She'll figure it out on her own. That's the best thing. The Gemara says it's even better than 100 whippings. Like it says, figuring it out on your own is better than realizing 100 times of being hit is not enough to equal realizing on your own. The Gemara goes back to the incident of Moshe Rabbeinu speaking with the HaKadosh Baruch Hu after the Egel. The Gemara says Moshe asked Hashem 3 things and HaKadosh Baruch Hu granted them all. The 3 things were as follows. He asked that Hashem should rest his Shechina on Klal Yisrael, like it says, Halei B'lachtecha Yimanu, and Hashem agreed. He asked that Hashem should not rest his Shechina on the Goyim, like it says, V'neflinu ani v'amecha, and Hashem agreed. And then he asked the HaKadosh Baruch Hu, explain to me how you run the world. And the HaKadosh Baruch Hu agrees. What was the question? Moshe asked him, how come sometimes you have a tzaddik that has good things happening to him, and how come you have a tzaddik that has bad things? How come sometimes a Rasha has good things and sometimes a Rasha has bad things? What is the meaning of all these four instances? So HaKadosh Baruch Hu answered him, a tzaddik that has good is a tzaddik, the son of a tzaddik. Tzaddik that has bad is a tzaddik, the son of a Rasha. A Rasha that has bad is a Rasha, the son of a Rasha, and a Rasha that has good is a Rasha, the son of a tzaddik. Meaning the only way you have pure good is if you're tzaddik ben tzaddik, the only way you have pure bad is if you're tzaddik ben Rasha. If you are one son of the other, then you'll have a mixed bag. So the Gemara asks, how could it be that a tzaddik, the son of a Rasha, has bad things happening to him? We had a contradiction in Psukim. The Gemara says, Pekid Av and Avos Abanim, and it says, Abanim Layim So Alavos. So one place it says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu visits the punishment of the father's sins on the children, and another place it says, children don't suffer because of the father's sins. Gemara says, contradiction. Gemara says, the answer is, it depends. If the children are maintaining their parents' iniquities, if they're doing the bad things that the parents did, holding on to it, then they suffer for the parents' errors as well. But if you have a tzaddik ben Rasha, and he's not holding on to his father's sins, then he should not have to suffer anything. So how come he has bad things happening to him according to what we just said? Says the Gemara, Hashem answered Moshe something else. It wasn't about who the father is. It said a tzaddik gamor has good things. A tzaddik that's not complete has bad things. A Rasha gamor is all bad. A Rasha that's not complete, he has good things. Like the Gemara explains elsewhere, if a tzaddik has certain mistakes that have to be healed or gotten rid of, in this world he will suffer for them. And if a Rasha has certain good things that he did, so then in this world he will get his reward for that, so that he gets none in the future. The Gemara says these three things which we said HaKadosh Baruch Hu granted Moshe Rabbeinu. Rav Meir disagrees. Rav Meir says he only granted him 2 out of the 3, but the last one, how you run the world, he didn't answer him. He said you cannot be explained. There are those that I am gracious to, there are those that I forgive, that you could not understand why. The Gemara continues its explanation of Moshe's conversation with Hashem. Moshe said, I'd like to see your face. Hashem said, you can't see my face. Says Rabbi Shua ben Karcha, look what happened. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to show Moshe his face at the burning bush, and Moshe refused. It says he looked away, and here he wanted to see. So when Moshe wanted to see, Hashem said, when I wanted to show you, you didn't want to see. As a result, when you want to see, you can't see. And it sounds like the incident at the burning bush, when he refused to look, was a punishment. The Gemara says not everybody agrees to that. Bar Nachmani argues. He says he got rewarded for not looking at the burning bush. What was the reward? A number of things. When it says he hid his face, he got the reward of having his face shine. When it says that he was afraid to look, he got the reward that others were afraid to look at him. When it says that to look he didn't want to do, others were afraid to look at him. Says the Gemara, continuing this conversation, Kapai, Hashem said to Moshe, I will hide you in the rock and I will cover you with my hand. And then Hashem said, and you will not see me as I pass, but you will see me after I pass. Says the Gemara, HaKadosh Baruch Hu showed Moshe the back knot of the tefillin, which we learned yesterday, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wears. Says the Gemara, if HaKadosh Baruch Hu says he's going to do something, even if it's based on a certain condition which is not fulfilled, what he said he's going to do will happen anyway. Like we see over here in this conversation, he said to Moshe, leave me and I'm going to destroy Klal Yisrael, I'll make you into a great nation. Well, in the end, he didn't destroy Klal Yisrael, but he did make Moshe Rabbeinu into a great nation, as we learn from the pasuk that says, "V'yu b'nei Eliezer Rechavia Harosh Eliezer b'nei Machem b'nei Rechavia Robu leMaila." And Moshe Rabbeinu's children had 60,000 offspring of their own. Now the Gemara moves into a slightly different subject, discussing 2 people who did things that had never been done before in the world. It says the Gemara, there was nobody in the history of the world who ever called the HaKadosh Baruch Hu Adoin until Avram Avinu said Bameh Eda Ki Yirashena, and he used the name spelled Aleph Dalet Nun Yud in that phrase. That Zechus lasted all the way till Daniel, who prayed to HaKadosh Baruch Hu with that phrase, and he used that letter name, and he invoked this Zechus of Avram Avinu. Says the Gemara, from the day HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world until Leah, there was nobody who was ever grateful to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Like Leah said when Yehuda was born, Hapam Eidas Hashem, this time I'll be thankful to Hashem, because she realized now she had given birth to more than 1/4 of the Shvatim, and therefore she had gotten more than her share. The Gemara says, let's talk about names and how names predict what kind of behavior a person will have. Says the Gemara, Leah named Ruvain by the name Reuven. Why did she name him that? She said, compare my son to Esav. Esav sold his firstborn to Yaakov, and yet he hated him for it, and he complained. He said, Yaakov, he fooled me twice. What happened with Ruvain? Ruvain lost his Bechara to Yosef, and he didn't complain, and he didn't even sell it, but he didn't complain. Not only that, but he was not jealous, and he went and he helped Yosef when nobody else would, and he tried to save him from the brothers who would sell him. The Gemara talks about Rus. Where does the name Rus come from? The Gemara says, Sheyeru HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'shiros v'zishbachos, that David HaMelech, who came from Rus, Kaviyachal, filled up HaKadosh Baruch Hu with songs and praises. The Gemara says, you mean to tell me that one's name predictates what's going to happen? The Gemara says, yeah, to some extent, like it says in the Pasuk, L'chu chazun mifalais Hashem asher sam shamois ba'aretz, and you will read that shamois ba'aretz, names in the land affect how a person's life runs. The Gemara says it's worse to have somebody bad within your own household than Milchemes Gog Umagog, the war of Armageddon. It's worse than that. How do you know? Because in Tehillim, what does it say about when Avshalom, the son of David HaMelech, rebelled against him? It says, Ay, Hashem, Marabu Tzarai, Rabim Kamalai, I have such tzara, I have such pain, I have such anguish. But what did David HaMelech say about Armageddon? People getting all upset about this. It's not such a big deal. So you see that one suffering from his own son is worse. Says the Gemara, there's a chapter in Tehillim which begins Mizmor LeDavid, a prayerful song of joy for David when he ran away from Avshalom. The Gemara says, what's he saying? Mizmor, it should say Kina, it should be mourning, it should be lamenting that he has to flee from his own son who's trying to kill him. Says the Gemara, no, he was happy. Why? It's like when you owe somebody money and you don't know when he's going to come collect. But he finally collects. You're glad that it's over with. That's what happened with David. HaKadosh Baruch Hu had promised him that somebody from your household is going to come up against you. And he was afraid. Who is this? Is it going to be some kind of mamzer, some kind of slave that will not have mercy on me? When he saw it's his own son, Avshalom, David was happy. Now he knows that at least it won't be so bad. And he said Mizmor. Now the Gemara talks about starting up with Rishoyim. The Gemara says you're allowed to start up with a Rasha. It's a good thing to start up with a Rasha. Like it says in the Pasuk, Oiz v'ter yahalu Rasha, v'shomer Torah yizgaru bam. A shomer Torah will start up with a Rasha. The Gemara says, what do you mean? It says in a different Pasuk, Al tischar b'mereim, the Al tekane bo'ese avla, don't start up with Rishoyim. The Gemara says, the only people who think that that's the explanation of that Pasuk are the people who have done evil themselves, and they are themselves have a little bit are evil doers, and therefore they don't want anybody to start up with the evil doers. But what that Pasuk means is you shouldn't start up with them, meaning you shouldn't try to be like them, you shouldn't be jealous of them, you shouldn't try to imitate their ways. The Gemara brings a few psukim to support this. Now the Gemara says this is true that you could start up with Rishayim. Well, what do it mean? We learned that if you see a Rasha, that times are going well for him, stay away from him. Don't start up with him. And the Gemara brings psukim that show that he'll be successful. Not only will he be successful, but he'll win in a case, in a trial, and he'll see those who start up with him will fall, and he'll be able to blow away all his tormentors, like just blow them away. So how can you start up with a Rasha? So the Gemara offers three answers. The Gemara says, first of all, it could be that that's talking about his own business. But in heavenly business, Mili Dishmaya, you start up with him about Averas, that you'll be successful. Second answer, the Gemara says, well, maybe that's when Shamas Achekasle, that's when things are going well for him. But you can start up with him when things are not going well for him. Or the Gemara says, I'll give you a third answer. If you're at Tzaddik Gomer, you could start up with a Rasha. If you're not at Tzaddik Gomer, don't start up with him. The Gemara brings several psukim which show that a tzaddik will be able to defeat, a Rasha will be able to defeat a tzaddik, even if he's a tzaddik, as long as he's not a tzaddik Gomor. And the Gemara offers another explanation. The Gemara says, when it's Shamas Achekasai is different. All bets are off. When things are going well for a Rasha, then anything can happen. Says the Gemara, a wonderful thing about somebody who is Kevei Makom L'Tfilasai. We saw this subject earlier. Somebody who sets a place for himself to pray, all his enemies will fall away. Like it says, V'samti makom lami Yisrael u'netativ v'shachan etachta v'lo yirgaz oid v'lo yisifu b'nei avla la'anoisai. Somebody, this is referring to the building of the Beis HaMikdash, and it says that evil people will not have anything to say against Klal Yisrael. The Gemara says, hold on a second, that's a pasuk in Shmuel, but a similar pasuk appears in Divrei Hayamim, and there it doesn't say that people will not talk against us, it says people will not destroy us. it sounds like they'll be able to start up with us, they'll be able to speak against us, la'anaisai, but not lichaloisai, it won't be able to destroy us. The Gemara says, yeah, in the beginning the Beis HaMikdash was built that people wouldn't be able to say a word against us. But then we did Averis, and once we did Averis, then came a situation where they were able to start up with us and talk against us, they just weren't able to actually finish us off. Says the Gemara, Rav Yechanan, in the name of Rav Shimon ben Yochai, service of Torah, service of a Talmid Chacham is greater than the learning of it. How do we know? Because by Elisha, the Gemara quotes a pasuk where somebody was looking for a Navi, and he said, look, here's Elisha who poured water on the hands of Eliyahu. Didn't say Elisha who learned from Eliyahu, it says who poured water on the hands of Eliyahu. So you see, the service of Eliyahu was greater than the Torah that he learned from him.